Last year, right, we started a journey. We started a journey with our partners. They're called Ashoka. Now, for those of you guys who are new to the station, right, Ashoka are the world's largest network in terms of social entrepreneurship, right? Now, us guys as Trace, right, decided, you know what, let's partner with them in terms of that whole change-making initiative. And we're going to be telling you all about that mostly this year. And we're going to be getting into that. We're going to be telling you how you can be a part of it, how you can be a part of Trace Academia as well.
Absolutely. Now, Ashoka is the world's largest network of social entrepreneurs and Trace, an Afro-urban platform that empowers our young people to stand up and shine with a reach of over 350 million active users globally. Now, the goal is to develop content and inspire and inform. Meskia,
very important.
Yes, inspire and inform different audiences on change making and its potentials. Number 2, to deepen understanding on change making and help media influencers see the importance of change making. Then number 3, equip selected change makers with the tools, resources, networks, etc., to help them scale their innovations and grow into confident change makers.
Yes, and you can be a part of this by, becoming a change maker by simply checking us out. We'll be dropping the links. Make sure right now you are on at Trace East Africa pale kwenye Twitter so that you are able to start your change maker journey. An intensive online learning process. You get to learn and do all of those different kind of things because we need to impact each other and of course impact the youth.
Do you want to talk about Trace Academia? Ama tungoje baadaye?
Tuko tunaambia watu all about it because I want to get into this guy right now. There's times you're sent for a profile of a guest and you're like, let me just check them out, right? At the age he is, I can tell you this. A lot of people don't have a LinkedIn account. Watu wengi wagatu wako hapo tu, right? Then I went to his LinkedIn account and I was like, my God! Hey! Good sir. Good morning first and foremost. How are you? You all right?
Yeah, very well.
Yes, we have with us Mr. Elly Savatia. Savatia. Yes, Savatia, right? And congratulations, sir. Because you're what you call a change maker, a tech entrepreneur, a social entrepreneur, you're global. And let me tell you this, right? Let me give you your accolades. I was looking at all the people that you've worked with. People who've recognized you. First and foremost, you're an Ashoka Lead Young Change Maker, Ashoka Young Champion, UNICEF Gen Innovation Challenge winner, Nacheki Sijui Youth to Front Fund winner, Yali Fellow, UN Habitat Youth Representative, Youth Urban. My God.
Are you okay?
How have you been able to do all of this at your tender age?
Wow. It's something that I'm passionate about. I mean, change making. Yeah, and I started this from pretty a young age.
Yes.
Around 10 to 13, right there. It's when I was pretty sure that I'm going to pursue technology-driven change making.
Yes.
And in class 7, I built a rotatable wind turbine.
Yeah, I saw that.
Renewable energy to, generate renewable energy.
Yes.
After I went to high school, the vision became more clear, and I worked on an assistive technology staircase. It was a robotic staircase that cooled, sense a wheelchair.
Yes.
Then allow access. It becomes a ramp. Yeah.
So for when you went to high school, right? Because when I was reading your profile, this was one of the things I was like, okay, I remember we used to have something called Science Congress. Was it the same thing that you presented at the Science Congress?
Yes, it is. Yes, it is.
Yes?
Yes.
And let me ask you, do they actually take the Science Congress that seriously with everybody? Ama, you're just one of the people that they picked and they were like, this is a brilliant innovation?
I actually looked at it past the science fair because having started at a young age, it wasn't there in primary school. So it was more of I actually was more interested with outside classroom experiences, outside the books and everything.
Yes.
That curiosity to just, break apart a radio and know, okay, what exactly is in here. So that's how the mode of learning that I had.
Yes.
And just subconsciously I became passionate about it.
Okay, so let me ask you this. Of course, breaking down the radios, turbines, and all of that, congratulations for that. It's gotten you here. So to people, when you tell them about Ashoka, right, and they ask you, what is a change maker? How do you usually break down that to them?
A change maker, I think I look at it as someone who, or anyone who can align their passion with doing good for the world. Looking at that, everyone a change maker world where everyone can be a change maker, can be positively doing, whatever thing you're passionate with.
Yes.
To better the world, to solve some of the world's toughest problems, to solve even the minor problems that look minor.
Yes.
Yeah.
Now, I love the story about you wanting to have an experience out of the class.
Yes.
All right, out there.
Yeah.
So I want to know what that felt like. Nyumbani. Yeah, at home.
Yes.
Did you break a couple of electronic whatevers? Did you just decide to put apart the fridge and decide that, or the TV or the radio? Like, how was that for you at home? How was that experience for you at home, being that curious?
I was very curious. Okay. Sometimes it got me into trouble.
And what trouble did you get into? You can give us X-Files right now. The real accounts.
Because, that learning process is learning through making mistakes.
Of course.
Nangoja uniambie kuna siku nilifanya hivi, and this is what happened.
I was electrocuted at some point.
Ooh. What were you bringing apart?
The heater, water heater. Yeah, the shower heater.
The shower.
I have like the mark over here in my hand.
What?
Wow.
Serious. Yeah.
Wow.
So, that curiosity, some devices, I ended up destroying them completely.
Yes.
But then I learned something from that. So later on, I would now take those and apply them elsewhere.
Yes.
So, take those, components.
The learnings.
Yes.
Now, let me ask you this. Now, as an Ashoka fellow, right? You've gotten into all of those different things that you did at a young age and now getting to becoming a change maker, right?
Yeah.
What is your solution and how did you arrive at that very, noble aha moment?
Yeah. Just before the pandemic in 2020. So let me take you back to 2019.
Okay.
I got the opportunity to represent my country, Kenya, in a global robotics competition.
Robotics.
Yeah.
All right.
We were building robots to tackle ocean pollution. So what we did, we built a robot, and it was supposed to pick pollutants, then go and deposit it in recycling hubs. So from that experience, it was actually more learning experience. So when we came back, what we were doing is we were doing outreach to regions in Kenya, training them in robotics, STEM education.
Yes.
And while we were doing this was actually my first time interacting with deaf students. So I vividly remember the first outreach in Migori, where after the session, I was approached with a number of deaf students.
Yes.
Yeah. So I was like, wow, okay. How do we communicate?
I
don't understand sign language.
Yes.
And so we had to write on pen, paper. But they shout out to my co-founder, Lumona, who were doing this together.
Yes.
And from these experiences, again, we went to Garissa. Same experience. We start interacting with deaf students.
Yes.
So this actually brought this specific problem to attention to us. Communication barrier. And we were like, okay, we're passionate about tech. We do this. What can we do with this? So we became intentional with that. We started having more in-depth conversations with them just to break it down. Okay, what exactly is the problem? And we boiled it down to communication barrier. Yeah, so from that, we were trying to leverage, how can we use our skills? How can we use the resources at our disposal to bridge this communication barrier?
Yes.
And we learned that, due to the communication barrier, they're unable to access, it's a marginalized group.
Yes.
They're unable to access basic human needs.
It's very true.
Education,
Yes.
healthcare, talk of even service delivery, even
Communication.
jobs. Yes.
Elly, you talked about the challenge that you faced in communication with the deaf.
Yes.
Right? And so my question is, why the deaf? right? And then on top of that, what drove you to create your own initiative around that particular problem? Yeah, what your solution? What drove you there?
Yeah.
Why that passion? Why that particular? And not just join the bandwagon of so many others that were already happening to, create solutions for the deaf. What drove you there?
Yeah. So why the deaf?
Yes.
So when we talk of, what we were doing, STEM.
Yes, robotics.
We're pushing towards a world where everyone can be included. We talk of change making. STEM is, each and every day technology is advancing and everything.
Yes, it is.
Yeah. So if we cannot include this specific group of the deaf, the blind, this means we are leaving others behind.
We are leaving them out, yes.
Yeah. And what is the second question, kindly?
Like, why?
Why?
Yeah. Why them? Why particularly them?
Why particularly them?
Yes.
Yeah. So back to, the aspect of leaving no one behind. And after we started, talking to them,
yes,
we realized that, this group has been left behind. It's actually, serious to the fact that current matters happening, and they speak a totally different language,
yes,
the Kenyan Sign Language.
Yes.
And you learn that when it comes to even their literacy outcomes, they're not able to access, sometimes in talk of healthcare. So let's say a medical practitioner is not culturally responsive to the deaf culture.
Yes.
So they have a totally different culture from what we have.
So would you say it's a moment that they just grasped you and overwhelmed you and you were like, this is where I'm going?
Yeah, because we didn't have, that exposure to this community before, earlier on. And while we were doing this, and we can't be teaching robotics, we can't be teaching change making, and we are leaving another group behind. So, this was like, wow, okay, there is a barrier. If I can't speak to them, what can I do to alleviate this?
I like that you've touched on the fact that you guys definitely did a lot of research before you came up with the solution, right?
Yes.
And I know getting into that field, with the deaf and everything, there's been so many initiatives that have been put over the years, right?
Yeah.
But, why didn't you guys, partner with an
Like
already
join the bandwagon of others,
existing one and decided, you know what, let's go in with this change-making solution that we have? What was so different with what they were offering and what your noble idea was?
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah. So back to the challenge itself, the communication barrier.
Yes.
There is no solution that is optimized for them. When I talk about optimized, I mean that is like uniquely catered to their specific needs. Let's put a case scenario. I'm deaf and I'm speaking to you.
Yes.
Speaking in sign language. So, existing solutions out there, there's a number of video conferencing platforms, which is more of like a Zoom where you have a sign language interpreter.
Yes, interpreter.
And then sign language interpreters are expensive, like insanely expensive. You can negotiate to probably $25 an hour.
What?
And for the context of middle income economy like Kenya, you can imagine how expensive that is to a household out there. Yeah. So, just observing this trend, this is what made us like, I think we can do something about this with my co-founder, Lumona. And what we did, we were like, okay, when we talk of people living with disabilities, most of the time people build solutions, then take it to them. But then we said we're going to do this differently. We're going to work closely with them and co-create a solution that will...
With them.
Yes.
Yes.
That will cater for their specific needs. And in this process, we made some observations. The deaf community, they're visual beings. How they take in information is through sight.
Yes.
And how, as hearing people communicate, is through speech and writing.
Yes.
Yeah. So we wanted to create a solution that is going to cater for both the needs of the hearing and the needs of the deaf, not just for one group. So we built a sign language interpreter, a digital sign language interpreter that leverages the power of AI, machine learning. So reimagining a world where you can communicate seamlessly with them.
Wow.
Yeah. Their natural way of communication is sign language.
I'm so blown away by that. First and foremost, well done.
Yes.
Like, you know, that is such a solution in terms of everyone for over the years, right? You've always had to communicate with the deaf person by signing, right?
Exactly.
And then you guys use machine learning to create... Clap for the man. Wow.
When it comes to funding, when it comes to linkages to specific stakeholders that can actually, hold your hand.
Yes.
And also mentorship.
Very important.
It's very, very important.
No, what I like about Ashoka and the community in change making that they've built is this, and you've kind of touched on it, right?
Yes.
The fact that you come with your idea and everything that you're doing, and you meet so many other people who have different ideas, and are probably better at something, and we're probably looking for an idea that you have, and all of you guys create a very big community. Yeah. Now, I'm very impressed by what you've done. And whenever you hear a lot of people who've done a lot of impressive things, we're all human at the end of the day. Mm-hmm. But have you had a moment where you were afraid? A moment where you were like, man,
what did I just do?
How's this going to be?
Like, how is it? Yeah.
Okay. There was while we were starting this, interesting enough, my colleague and I, we didn't have machines.
Yes.
So, we are building an AI solution. We definitely need data, a lot of data to train machine learning models. Yep. Yeah. And we don't have machines to run that. So I remember we used to write code on paper.
Hey!
Wow.
That's tough.
Yeah, he's the chief technical officer. His name is Lumona. We used to write code on paper.
Yes.
Then he had a tablet. So he would run the models.
So write it on paper, then now you have to input it. That is such a tedious process, by the way.
Yeah, it was tough then. Mm-hmm. Then we were able to, harness a number of opportunities around us and bring in resources.
Yes.
Where, we now started working with the dev community to collect the data.
Yes.
Since it's their natural language, they're the best people to do that.
Yes.
We got support from Your Family Foundation, who are actually Ashoka's partners.
There you go.
Yes.
A community.
Exactly.
Yes.
Yeah, Your Family Foundation, we won the Youth to the Front Fund, which enabled us to now, get equipment and accelerate our work.
Yes.
So we built a data set. We trained the version 1. We then took it back to the dev community because we were doing it with them. They tested it. They gave us feedback. We iterated again.
Yes.
And we iterated throughout mid-2021. Then towards the end of the year, then we realized that, okay, we're building this community, of the deaf. And, it only makes sense that we move with them. So what we did towards the end of the year, we organized the first innovation boot camps for the deaf. And what this was geared into, it actually took us back to our founding story. We were doing this, we were training them robotics, we were training them change making.
Yes.
So we equipped 85 young deaf people in Nairobi on design thinking, on change making, and how they can actually even apply these skills, to create that ripple effect in their communities.
Yes.
Yeah, from the skills that they gained.
I'm so happy with what Ashoka are doing, in terms of change making. That is such, going beyond the boundaries, right?
Absolutely.
Getting so many different people from so many different communities, even different special needs and all of that. Now, I know Alvin really wants to ask you a particular question. Before we even get to that, let me ask you this.
Yes.
What is different today because of your efforts of you and your partner with what you guys build? How would you simply put, what is so different today because of what you guys have done?
There is hope. And when you talk of hope, kingdoms flourish, when there is hope.
Come on now. Preach.
What is different there is that, with the deaf community that we've interacted with, when they see the solution, vis-a-vis.
Yes.
It's interesting that even some of them, their profiles are, we are vis-a-vis.
We are vis-a-vis.
Yes. Just the solution and looking at the impact that, the potential impact that this is going to create in the community. That is what makes us to continue. And what is different, that approach where user development working with them hand in hand has been right at the backbone of building our solution, Economa.
Yes.
Yeah.
Definitely.
Okay.
I appreciate what you guys are doing. And of course, us guys as Trace, through Trace Academia and everything that we're doing, we're definitely going to be a part of that whole change-making process, because it's all about creating a social, sustainable impact, right?
Yes.
So, Alvan,
Absolutely impressive.
umesikia venye kijana amefanya kazi kabisa.
Ndio. But I have one more question for you. I am thoroughly overwhelmed, and I can't begin to imagine the kind of joy that this is bringing. Just taking away the expensive human factor of interpretation and all of that. How fast is this spreading? How fast is it growing? How fast is it going?
Yeah, so
Give me a picture. Give me like a 5-year picture.
A 5-year picture.
Where you think this is going to be.
So actually, we've grown a community of the deaf, and they've actually referred themselves and brought in, like, we started with a group of like 5, and now we are like 150 plus.
150 plus.
Yes, a community that we are working with.
Yes.
And what we are looking towards the next 5 years, so we will be rolling out a better version of our application first quarter of 2022.
Okay.
And we are looking at a versatile solution that will be used with them in their most immediate environment. And we want to help organizations globally to become inclusive to, deaf people. And another interesting fact I forgot to mention.
Yes.
Through our solution, Economa right now, a deaf person is able to communicate seamlessly with a blind person through it.
Ooh, parts two, take two.
As in it,
I like that.
Yeah.
And
it gets better. Go on.
We are going to disrupt the video conferencing industry. And we are looking at possibilities of integrating our solution into video conferencing platforms. So you realize there's usually captions.
Yes, there's a lot of those.
And it is assumed that
everybody can read them.
Yes, with the literacy outcomes for the deaf community. So we actually validated these in our user development feedback sessions.
Yes.
And we learned that the deaf, they are visual beings. So they prefer visual sign language.
Yes.
So we were working on the avatar tool, which picks voice as you speak.
Yes.
Then it relays that information in sign language.
Wow.
So we're looking at possibilities of integrating these two.
I like that. We're going to take pictures of the app, and not because it's still in the beta, right? So we can't launch it kabisa
incredible.
All right. Now, shout out to everybody who's just locking in. Of course, we're talking to you guys all about the change making process, how you can be a part of it. And as you've heard that amazing story from Elly Savatia, who's a change maker, and he's been doing it for a while. Shout out to Ashoka, and of course everything that they've been doing to support. Now, I know a lot of people want to join and be a part of Ashoka so that they can get into that community of, social impact, right? What I want to tell you is this: make sure you go to @Trace East Africa. We're going to be posting up all the necessary links to make it possible for you to be a part of all of that. And to Elly, as we roll out, I want to tell you congratulations once again. What you've done should be celebrated. Unajua how each and every year they give awards, presidential, what are they called? Commendations and all of those. You're the kind of people who actually need them, because what you've done and what you're doing for the deaf community as of right now, and what you're going to do for the blind community, really needs to be celebrated. So God bless the work of your hands, you and your partner. What is the name again? Lumona.
Yes.
Well done. There you go. Impactful interviews right here on your all-time hit station.